How are you guys doing? Okay, let's talk about artificial intelligence. If you look back at the history of technology, if you look at what's been happening with search, social, mobile, it always begins by something new and exciting, something that changes our lives to the better, and then one or two companies fully capture the whole, attention, whole value from the new market, and then, a decade later, that market is entirely, used to capture every single dollar of our of value without producing value for users anymore. Right. So with search, if you go to Google today, it's almost impossible to find anything. With social, it's all optimized for your attention so that you spend, more and more time in there. And artificial intelligence is in a very similar space right now, in a very similar moment in history, where we are still at the moment where we're very excited about something new, but we already can see that, 1, 2, maybe 3 companies are fully capturing value, and that will create a data wheel that will effectively make it more and more hard for others to dethrone them in the future. And as long as, if you, like me, believe that AI will be a very big part of our interactions with the internet, with the world, with practically everything in the future, that means no user-owned internet, no user-centric future is possible as long as large language models are controlled by large corporations. And if you look at those large corporations, they have, like if you think of OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Facebook, they have data, experiments, compute, the best researchers, all in the same place, are all very nice centrally orchestrated, right? So that allows them to iterate very quickly, while outside of them, if we wanted to replicate it in a decentralized fashion, first of all, we don't have access to resources that are of the same quality today. Second of all, even the resources that exist, they all spread out, right? So a person who tries to push it forward, they spend a lot of time, looking around, finding things that they need. And we want NEAR. NEAR is in a sort of unique position to try and go ahead and solve it, because relative to Web 2 companies, right, such as, like any Web 2 company that would try to dethrone, hypothetical OpenAI, we have years of experience of pooling resources together, of orchestrating large sets of people in a decentralized fashion, something that is absolutely impossible in Web 2. Sending micropayments, annotating data, etc. While relative to Web 3 companies, NEAR is in a unique position because NEAR internally has a lot of experience building artificial intelligence. One and only of my co-founders is literally the creator of transformers, so it's nobody in the world is positioned better than NEAR to make this change, and so correspondingly, it is effectively our responsibility to drive this innovation forward. And effectively, the way we want to do it, the way we're doing it today, is we want NEAR to be a central, decentralized place for all the things related to AI, so that all the data sources, all the models, all the experiments are discoverable agents, so that you have access to compute, you have access to data annotations in one place. And yet, each of those is coming from various ecosystem projects from different decentralized entities, right? And none of that, nobody disappearing tomorrow because they ran out of money or turned out to be, malicious from day one, affects in any way the whole effort. So before I get into the fun part, let's address the most important part of decentralized AI. The decentralized AI, one way or another, needs to be private. When you interact with ChatGPT, you know that your data goes to OpenAI, but at least you can assume that, that OpenAI has at least some effort to protect the data. It's a bad place to be in, but it's not as bad as if you were using some decentralized AI servers where, some random person is running a machine with the 8 H100s and your data just goes to them and they sell it to the lowest bidder, highest bidder. Interestingly, private AI is possible, and the way it is possible is all the modern CPUs and GPUs allow a technology called trusted execution environment, something Ilya mentioned during his talk, which effectively says that if someone, let's say me, has a computer, and I'm a malicious actor, you should never trust me, and you have some computation you want to do, but you don't have access to compute, you can send it to me, and I can execute it in a trusted execution environment, and you will be absolutely certain that I had no idea what was happening on my computer. I could not see your data, I could not see the code you're executing. All I know that something was executed on my machine, right? And so that allows you to build all sorts of interesting use cases. It allows you to do private inference, meaning that I could be running a model on my machine, and you could come to me, run inference on my machine. I will not see your data. I will not see what you were doing with in there, right? You can send any medical records, any private data, and you will have 100% confidence that that was not in any way seen by me. It allows you to run agents. Like an agent provider says, this is my agent, it's open source, it's beautiful, it does everything you want. Here's the endpoint. There is no way for me, without trusted execution environments, to know that the endpoint I'm hitting is actually the agent that I see on GitHub. With trusted execution environment, I can do that. That allows you to have a network of agents running on a decentralized network where you know for every agent that it is doing exactly what is promised. You can use any secrets, private keys, everything, and be certain at every point that the system behaves exactly the way you want, and none of your data is going to any malicious or any other actors. But the most exciting thing that trusted execution environments unlock is that they allow us to create frontier open source large language models which are monetizable, right? So today, if you think about frontier AI, like the models like Llama 405B or GPT-4 or GPT-5 is probably around the corner. They are massive. Training such a model requires hundreds of millions of dollars, and there are very few entities who can afford spending hundreds of millions of dollars to create such a model and then just drop the weights and say, hey guys, use it, it's all yours, right? And if the whole future of open source AI is fully in the hands of Meta, it's a very bleak future we have. And with TEEs, what you can do is you can pull together resources from people. You can train a model entirely inside of the TEEs using open source code, open source data pipelines, and then get the model that is open source, meaning that the source is open, but not open weights, meaning that the weights are not seen by anyone, and yet anyone can pull the encrypted weights to their machine and run it inside the TEE, but the TEE would only serve the model to you if you establish a payment channel and pay for the usage. Right, and the price of the usage could be extremely competitive, right? So it could be competitive with any inference providers that exist today, but you know that the model, once it is trained, will be monetizable. Every usage of the model will be paid for, and therefore you can actually pull together those hundreds of millions of dollars and have those people have a reasonable way to expect to repay their contribution from the usage of the model. So that is extremely exciting because that technology actually gives us a path towards the future in which the frontier models are created by the community, for the community, and served in a decentralized fashion without sacrificing economical viability. So that is probably the most exciting area that we are exploring right now. This is effectively the way, this is a little diagram which highlights what I was just describing, right? Bob, who you can clearly see is not a good guy, has a machine, and the machine is fully controlled by Bob, right? So like he can open it up, he can use a microscope to inspect every little transistor in the processor, but there's a trusted execution environment within his machine, and everything that happens in the trusted execution environment, Alice can trust it, but most importantly, the protocol as a whole can trust it, right? So the protocol as a whole can know that the model, once deployed to any of the machines with the TEE, will not be used without proper payment back to the DAO that initially created it. So it's and payment channels obviously is something that we know works very well. There's a way to build this technology such that payment channels are open between the trusted execution environment and the user. So it's an exciting technology and exciting way forward for user-owned AI. The only problem is, it's not enough to train a very large language model. Ideally, you want to train a large language model that is good, right? So for example, if you think about Llama 405B, Llama 405B in terms of size is comparable to GPT-4 or Claude 3.5, but in no way is Llama 405B competitive with those two models, right? So even Facebook, with all its resources, cannot train a model that is competitive with an OpenAI model. So how could we, without having access to researchers that Facebook has today, train a model that will be competitive? Because if the model is not competitive, you cannot monetize it. People will not use it, right? The way we approach it is we start a series of competitions where we're just going to bring all the researchers who today don't work for OpenAI, right? There are students all over the world who are getting into AI today. A lot of them are extremely talented and extremely knowledgeable, who do not have a way to get access to compute, to get access to good data, to get access to other resources. And we will provide access to those researchers and a way for them to compete and show that they are the best and they can contribute to the best model in existence. And you can think of it, of course, we cannot have a competition. We cannot train a 1 trillion parameter model in such a way, because even training one of them costs hundreds of millions of dollars. But you can train a small model. And you can begin with like a 500 million parameter model, which is small. And then you can have thousands of researchers simultaneously competing for training the best 500 million parameter model. And then you take the best of them, those who show that they are promising and can do exciting things, and all of them go to the next step. And now we train the best 2 billion parameter model, right? And then the best of those advance further. And at each step, you have fewer people, but those are the best people. And but you need more compute. Fewer people, more compute. It's the same amount of resources you need to spend until you get the very best, 10 to 20 people working on the very large language model that will be competing with the GPT-4s and Claudes of the world. And that's an exciting way to enable, first of all, to enable people who are very talented but don't have a way to work for those large companies, either because of their because of lack of opportunity or because of their values, right? Not every person wants to contribute to the evil corp, to get more and more of user data and user attention. So for many of them, that will be the way to apply their talent, to show what they can do, to contribute to open source AI, and to get rewarded for that. Cool. So the first competition is starting effectively now. That will be a competition to train a very small 500 million parameter model. So let's together train the small one. And then we have a plan. We will publish it very soon. Effectively, in like 6-7 steps, we will get to very large numbers, which are way more than 500 million, 400 billion to 1 trillion, etc. So everything I was talking about today, a lot of it is live at app.NEAR.AI. It's a hub for all things AI, data sets, models, compute. It's a place where the competitions will be hosted. So the future of decentralized AI has never been brighter. So yeah, let's build the future together.